Steve Han, I'm so excited to take a moment and talk with you, Steve, about what is relationship marketing from one of the gurus in our community, yourself. And I've known you for, gosh, I think it might be 10 years at least, if not more.
Probably more than that, exactly. So I don't know if it's close to 15, but it's probably in that ballpark, 10 to 15 in there somewhere. So yeah.
And I'm also going to brag that you're one of my role models of impeccable integrity. And I recommend people to BNI all the time. I'm excited that someone I recommend is definitely signing up as we speak. So
yeah, I appreciate that. And that's high praise coming from you, Martin, because you definitely are integrity as well. So
thank you. Thank you. I want to begin with just your definition of what relationship marketing is.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty inclusive. It's pretty big. So relationship marketing is getting to know somebody, what they're all about, who they can help, how they can help them, and making those connections happen. I think if I'm the person that's got the product to sell or the service to deliver, I'm more like the lighthouse, just visible and available, making sure everything happens properly. The heart of relationship marketing is giving. The more I give, the more it will help, the more it benefits everybody. And the other letters I look at is NATO, not attached to the outcome. I give because it's the right thing to do. It's not a matter of keeping score. Now, that said, I do have to keep track of who I'm pouring my relationship in and pouring my value in. If they're fully capable of returning, reciprocating in some way, I need to have that conversation if it's not happening. But that's because I haven't earned it, because I haven't explained it properly, I haven't educated properly or motivated. It's a pretty encompassing area.
And the key, I think you said, was, have you earned it before you have the next conversation? And I think that's so important. I do a mental bank account of, I need to find a way to help this person some more before I want some more help here.
Exactly. When it's needed and it's possible to do it, you should just go ahead and do it. So that's right.
Would you share maybe one, it's going to be hard for you to do, biggest successes around relationship marketing, or a current one, a story that recently happened?
Boy, there are just so many of them. There's just so many. So, but one of our members of one of our chapters, she's been 6 years, and I think it's about 5 weeks at this moment. And she was a representative for a property management company, really strong local property management company. And, companies lose their way sometimes. They started firing people and they laid her off. Mm-hmm. And she said, I took the day and just, cried all day. And then the next day, dusted myself off and went and joined the BNI chapter. Mm-hmm. And so in this BNI chapter, she said, I've got no properties. Mm-hmm. I've got the experience. I'm going to go to work, but I've got nothing to bring. I just have a need, and I think I can add value over time. And the chapters, could see something, and there was a spark. They brought her on board. And so, as I say, it's 6 years and 5 weeks later, almost 1,700 properties under management at this moment.
Wow.
She's got over 30 people working for her. Her focus is definitely on customer service, and she's opening her third office. So she's gonna blanket the Southeast without a doubt, because she is so focused on taking care of her tenants and her landlords. The relationship on both sides is exceptional.
Right.
Taking care of employees, taking care of her vendors, taking care of every step of the way. Now, she is at the moment, March 15th is her due date. So any day now, she'll be, her life's going to change dramatically. But the system runs even when she's not plugged in, because she's built it so it runs on its own. She hires the right people, trains them properly, gets them going, and it's all about relationships.
Several things on that. What I like is she became unemployed and went, I know I have something to give. So I guarantee when she got in that BNI group, it wasn't it was, how can I help these people? I've got these skills. I'm looking for a place to apply these skills. How can I help you? I guarantee it was probably your first conversation in that BNI group.
Yep, that's right. In fact, she announced that she was leaving the chapter yesterday because she's very close to due date. And so she's got one of her employees replacing her. But the bottom line is, she said, I was looking at 2 chapters. I couldn't decide which one. And the closing attorney said, well, I'll give you your first rental property if you'll join our chapter. So
That's great. And a fair bargain, a fair deal too. I love that story.
And the rest is history. So
yeah. What a wonderful story. And then what would you say some of the biggest challenges? You're always resharpening your saw. You just rejoined a BNI group in the last year, right?
I did because I really want to help people get started as quickly as possible. So,
yeah.
The thing is, there's a couple things. First, when you go to start, it can be overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so much you don't know. If you think about the circle, there's what we know, we don't know, but there's a whole lot of stuff we don't even know we don't know. And you see it flying by, but you have no idea how to get a hold of it. So that's the first thing. So that's the first element of it. And then once they get in and get rolling, then the other side is sometimes people get complacent. It gets too easy and they don't really, and so they're willing to settle for $10 clients when they could get $1,500 clients with just a little more tweak, a little more effort. So I'm always working on both sides of that.
I really think one of the kiss of death is actually being too comfortable and complacency in business.
Ben Franklin, one of the guys that I look at, is he was working on an investment. He said, it should be pretty good. What if it goes south? Goes south, here's where I'll be. And so what he did is for 6 weeks, he slept on the floor. Mm-hmm. He found he could survive that. He said, so I'm going for the investment. So he was not complacent at all. He could have been very complacent. So always pushing himself. And I think we all need to do that. So.
Yeah, I think someone said a rut is a coffin with the ends kicked out of it. It's really critical. And when I've coached salespeople, they go, I think I'm a little depressed and so forth. And I'll say, you're not depressed. You're under successful. You need to get going. You should be depressed because you're not succeeding. Let's move. So
that's one way to solve that. Either do something more or do it better. Either one is fine. When you do more of it, you'll get better. So
I want to ask you, what do you wish you knew when you started and in the whole field of networking, relationship working, BNI? What's the one thing you wish you knew earlier on?
That's a great question. There is so much to know, but I think it's a matter of really just, and I learned this early, is just trust the process. Mm-hmm. Really just trust the process. It's real easy to outsmart things, think I can do this better, I can do this. But every time you take a shortcut, you wind up in a dead-end street. And then you got to work harder to get back to it. So really just trust the process. Figure out what market you're going after, go effectively after it, don't settle for anything else. Be willing to make mistakes, and then learn and move forward.
And I've watched you coach that with BNI. Before you try to change the process, why don't you give us a good 6-month, year try?
90 days.
90 days.
Exactly. That's right. Yep.
and see what happens first. And such an important thing. It's like first learn to prune the bonsai the master's way before you create a new one. And I think that's a really good piece of advice. If you're going to pay for a system and work with a system, execute it first. Make your notes of improvement on the side if you're that type of person,
Exactly.
And then from there, start modifying it. And I think that's such an important piece. And I both followed that and not followed it and seen the consequences on both.
Well, I think you're human. We all do. But it's the kind of thing, if you stick with the process, it's much more effective.
A tip for someone starting out with relationship marketing and then maybe someone who's successful and been in it for a while, either or both.
Well, I think the same tip can work for both. Realistically, the more you sharpen the saw, the more effective you're going to be. So if I was to ask you, Martin, how busy are you right now?
I'm pretty busy at the moment. Yeah.
That's right. And probably everybody you talk to is in the same situation, right? And so I'm asking you to become my sales rep, to look for opportunities for me, to find things, qualify them properly, introduce them properly. You know what I mean? I'm giving you a whole lot of things to do. Mm-hmm. So the simpler I can make it for you, the more effective it is for me. So I would say my advice is really be specific. Who do you want to meet? How can you help them? How can the introduction take place? To the point that, yes, young couples are fine for me. Be more specific. Where do they live? What do they do? Do they have kids? If so, how many? Is she working? Is he working? Be as specific as you possibly can. When that's working for you, the customers you receive, the prospects you receive from your network will be exactly the same time after time. It gets a little boring. There's no question about it. but it pays extremely well. And it makes it easy for me to help your best friends and your best clients. So what I wind up in is a situation where all next to my next 20 customer prospects are all college professors, if that's what I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I just have to be patient because I already know what their hot button is. I just have to make sure I let them get it fully out before I jump in with a solution. I just have to be patient.
That's excellent. You're known and loved by many. You're contributing and fully engaged. I mean, your life is filled with great people. But was there a time before that? Would you talk about that?
Well, I think about that. I look back, and I've always worked with other people and always worked well with other people. Now, certainly breaking molds and making changes is part of the process, but I really don't think there's a whole lot of time when I've ventured too much on my own. I have been in a situation where, for instance, I'm with somebody and these people can design processes and systems like nobody's business. Mm-hmm. But after 40 minutes of that, I'm ready to go out and do something. Mm-hmm. So I can remember very well, we're designing things. I go out, I make 2 sales, I come back and they're still designing. And I said, I think going out and doing something is probably better anyway. So I like the ideas they got, but I'll just keep doing what I need to be doing. So by and large, it's a matter of activity is always the key. So.
In both leading a little referral group years ago, before you even joined BNI, and being involved in them on and off in my own career, one of the big benefits I see in something like the BNI group is to overcome the isolation that self-employment can create that many people who have day jobs aren't aware of until they step into this world. Would you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that is a great point. I mean, it's one of those things that we have a weekly rhythm. That is hugely valuable. We all get together at the same time, same day, same place, week after week. That becomes a very good touchstone. So in my case, I was in a Tuesday morning chapter, 7 o'clock in the morning. I loved that. Mm-hmm. Now, it was 10 minutes from home, so I didn't have to drive, an hour to get there. But it was really close by. But I could be done by 9:30, 10 o'clock and have a whole day to meet with my customers and clients. So for me, that was perfect. But it got me in that rhythm. Tuesday morning, by Monday, if I hadn't accomplished anything, I had Monday to get it squared away. So I was ready for Tuesday, prepared for Tuesday. So that's a really good point because that weekly rhythm makes all the difference. I'm going to be seeing you, looking you in the eye, and explaining why I did not get you that person you wanted to meet. So it's just going to happen.
Another thing that I like and I learned from the group is when I started working with a referral group, I thought, well, what if you have people that are less than honest in it? And what was fascinating that I learned that, of course, is intrinsic in BNI is if you're sleazy and a criminal, showing up to talk to people on a weekly basis and be held accountable for your actions is not a good strategy. You get that?
Tap dancing you could do, and then you're going to be falling through the floor. That's right.
Right. And it actually, what I noticed is it weeded out people like that they might have come in. I was a little wondering because we didn't have as steep an entry criteria as you do. That was with Tim Boykin. I don't know if you knew him, but
I've heard the name. Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, but we had it for a while. And the piece is I watched how the people who really weren't out to serving others and working and giving high value, they kind of took themselves out of the picture with it. Right. And that's one of the things I want to talk about as a support for relationship marketing that BNI offers.
Very important. And so, it's the kind of thing where we are really connected to each other. So if you are the painter in the chapter and I'm the handyman, mm-hmm. and I've got a friend who needs her house painted, right? Well, I got my friend and I refer that to you. Your number one responsibility is to improve my relationship with my friend. Mm-hmm. If you paint her house, great. If you don't paint her house, great. Mm-hmm. Improve our relationship is the bottom line.
Yeah.
So you're going to go out there, you're going to quote the job. If it's not a fit, it's not a fit, right? It's okay. No big deal. If she's looking for somebody much less than you, if you can help, well, I've got you just might call this the college of interns or trade group. They might have somebody, that can help. You're doing that, right? Because you're improving my relationship. But you really can't lower your cost below your overhead. You're insured, you're bonded, you're, got all that extra stuff in there. You are a professional. That's the rate for professional work. The place looks clean when you're done. Everything's fantastic, right? but it works all the step of the way. So if I'm the handyman in the chapter and I'm working on a home and I'm doing the front porch and putting that up, and in the course of that job, it makes sense to paint the front door. Well, as a courtesy to you, I'm going to call you up. Martin, I'm going to be working on 122 Main Street. I'm painting a door for them. Now, I know you're the painter, and I can probably get $25 for it. Do you want to paint that door for $25? If so, it's your job. Most likely you're going to say, no, it doesn't make sense for me to, have my crews out there for $25, but now I've made the call. If I don't do that, what's going to happen is you're going to drive down the street, see me painting the door and think, that guy's painting the whole house. That should be my job. So we need to communicate every step of the way. Another example is, let's say I refer you to my friend. She needs a painter. I get your voicemail. That's fine, right? And then we go on. And then I call a couple days later, and I want to see how it's going. I call you up. I get your voicemail. No big deal. And then I call my friend, and she says, Martin, who? I haven't heard from him. Well, now we got a problem because my friend has been expecting you for 3 days, right? So at that point, I'm going to reach out to the other painters I know, and I'm going to find someone and say, Whitney, can you help me out here? I know it's short notice, but I sort of teed her up to talk to somebody 3 days ago, and something must have happened. Can you talk to her today? Just at least talk to her today. If he says yes, then that's fine. We connect, but then my call is to you. I guess voicemail is not the best way to get in touch with you because I gave you her 3 days ago. I followed up, and nothing's happened yet, so I connected you to ABC Painting. Doesn't mean I'm not going to work with you again, but I had to get her taken care of now. Let me know if text is better or email is better, how we should do this so we don't have this problem next time. So it's accountability every step of the way. Every step of the way.
I think that's extremely important because one of the early things you'll hear is, well, they didn't send me good referrals. And I go, well, that to me is your problem, not theirs, because you didn't educate them.
Exactly.
Get back engaged in a conversation with them.
Yes.
And in many ways, sometimes people might think, well, this takes a lot of time. Not as much time as it does for a very expensive ad and personally shipped out, where you had to trade a huge amount of life for that billboard or ad versus this direct relationship marketing. If you look at the net expense, you're actually taking less time.
Of course.
Than the amount of life you trade for having to just blindly hook a cold call over time.
Yep. Yeah, I had one of my guys who did high-end websites. Really nice, solid, expensive websites, right?
Right.
His sales cycle was about 3 months. He'd meet with you. They do this prototype, this kind of stuff, proof of concept. You know what I mean? A 3-month sales cycle, right? But he educated his chapter. And these guys were mostly tradespeople, not necessarily technical, right? But he educated these people to find who he's looking for, qualify him well enough, understand the process. After about maybe 14, 16 months, he would meet you and sign you up that day. He cut 3 months out of the selling cycle. Every single customer. To me, that's a huge payoff. And it took me some time, if I'm that guy, to educate you, motivate you, and teach you. But you can tie a kid's shoes for their whole life, or you can teach them. It takes you 20 minutes to teach them, but you got your whole life after that. So it's the same thing. The more I can educate you and motivate you, the more effective it is. So.
Excellent. Any closing comments on what is relationship marketing? And I really appreciate the time you took to join me on this conversation.
Thank you, Martin. I think that what I would close up with is the best way to get business done. You talked about a billboard, right?
Yeah.
Which is great. But the thing is, I get to field test what to put on that billboard. I get to field test where to put that billboard. I get to field test, because I'm talking to customers, clients, and prospects all the time. The nice thing is, if you refer me to Joe and I do the work for Joe, if there's a problem, Joe might be too polite to tell me, but you'll find the answer out and I'll get it back as well. So referral marketing, relationship marketing is absolutely the best way to get business done. And the person that benefits the most is the customer. Because they get the right service, the right way, the right price, and total follow-up all the way through. So. Excellent. Steve, how can they learn more about your great chapters in the area? Well, I would say the easiest way is to go visit our website, www.trianglebni.com. So it's triangle like the shape, B stands for Business Network International, shortcut to BNI.com. You'll find out there is Find a Chapter. Pull it up, go down to where it says Advanced Search, because that brings you everything. All the chapters are listed. You can click on the chapter, find out who's there, where and when they meet, and just go visit. Just be prepared to make some of the best connections of your life. And that show runs every week, so it's there all the time. So someplace in a city near you.
Thanks, Steve. It was great to have some time with you. Appreciate it very much and always enjoy working with you.
Thank you, Martin. It's my pleasure, and we'll see you again very soon.